Extinction level emergency, the ordinary food additive making. 65-plus-year-olds gain 40 pounds in just 14 days, found in 98% of groceries. Have you noticed your clothes fitting a bit tighter lately? Or perhaps you've been wondering why, despite all your efforts to maintain a healthy lifestyle, the numbers on your scale keep creeping up. You're not alone, and what I'm about to share with you today might just change everything you thought you knew about the food sitting in your pantry right now. My name is Margaret, and for over 15 years I've been researching what the food industry doesn't want us to know, especially what they're hiding from Americans over 65. Today I'm going to reveal something shocking about an ingredient lurking in nearly every packaged food at your local supermarket. An ingredient that could be sabotaging your health and causing rapid weight gain, especially if you're in your golden years. Picture this. Dorothy, a 72-year-old retired schoolteacher from Minneapolis, had always maintained a healthy weight. She walked 3 times a week with her neighborhood friends and watched what she ate. But mysteriously, over just a few months, she gained nearly 18 pounds. Her doctor was baffled. Her routine hadn't changed. Her medication was the same. What could possibly be happening? The answer was hiding in plain sight, right there on the ingredient labels of her favorite healthy foods. The culprit? High fructose corn syrup, what I call the silent saboteur of senior health. And Dorothy isn't alone. Thousands of Americans over 65 are experiencing the same devastating effects without realizing the cause. Why am I telling you this today? Because the information I'm about to share could potentially save you from months, even years, of mysterious weight gain, declining energy, and the frustration of not knowing why your body seems to be working against you. And what's worse, this ingredient is found in an astonishing 98% of processed foods on American grocery shelves. As we age, our bodies process certain ingredients differently. What might have caused no problems in our 40s and 50s can become a serious health concern in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. And food manufacturers know this, but they're counting on us not connecting the dots. Let me tell you about Gerald, a 68-year-old retired postal worker from Tucson. Gerald was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 66, which surprised both him and his family, as he'd always been careful with sugary foods and desserts. What Gerald didn't realize was that his favorite low-fat products, the ones marketed as heart-healthy choices, were loaded with high fructose corn syrup. His body, already changing with age, simply couldn't process this synthetic sweetener the way it once could. Within just 3 months of identifying and eliminating this hidden ingredient from his diet, Gerald lost 22 pounds and saw dramatic improvements in his blood sugar levels. His doctor was astounded at the transformation. "I feel like I've gotten my life back," Gerald told me when he shared his story. But before I dive deeper into how this ingredient affects seniors specifically, let me explain what makes it so dangerous. High fructose corn syrup isn't just regular sugar. It's a laboratory-created sweetener that your aging body processes in a completely different way than natural sugars. When you consume it, especially after age 65, it bypasses important digestive steps and heads straight to your liver. For seniors, whose metabolic systems are already changing, this creates the perfect storm for rapid weight gain. Your liver converts this sweetener directly into fat, much more efficiently than it did when you were younger. And the worst part, this fat tends to accumulate around vital organs, creating what doctors call visceral fat, the most dangerous kind. Marjorie from Portland, now 78, discovered this the hard way. Despite maintaining the same exercise routine she'd had for decades, swimming twice a week and gardening daily, she noticed her midsection expanding rapidly. "It was like my body had developed a mind of its own," she explained. "Nothing I did seemed to make a difference." It wasn't until Marjorie's granddaughter, a nutritionist, visited from Chicago that the mystery was solved. Together, they examined everything in Marjorie's kitchen pantry. The culprit was hiding in her healthy breakfast cereal, her sugar-free flavored water, and even the all-natural bread she'd been buying for years. Within just 6 weeks of eliminating these foods containing high fructose corn syrup, Marjorie's waistline began to return to normal. More importantly, her energy levels soared. "I hadn't even realized how sluggish I'd become," she admitted. "I just thought it was part of getting older." But here's what's truly alarming. The food industry has created over 40 different names for this ingredient to disguise it on labels. They know consumers are becoming more aware, so they've developed clever ways to hide it. Terms like glucose syrup, maize syrup, fructose glucose syrup, and even sometimes just natural sweeteners can all be code for the same problematic ingredient. Let me share something particularly concerning for those of us on Medicare. A study conducted at the University of Minnesota found that patients over 65 who consumed high levels of high fructose corn syrup required 42% more prescription medications for conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and inflammation. With Medicare coverage increasingly limited and out-of-pocket expenses rising, this hidden ingredient isn't just affecting your health, it's impacting your financial well-being too. Albert, a 75-year-old retired accountant from Charleston, calculated that after eliminating high fructose corn syrup from his diet, his monthly prescription costs dropped by nearly $130. That's money I can now spend on my grandchildren or save for a rainy day, he told me, and I feel better than I have in years. Now you might be wondering, how exactly does this ingredient lead to such dramatic weight gain in seniors specifically? The science is actually quite clear. After age 65, our bodies produce approximately 40% less of a crucial enzyme called fructokinase 2. This enzyme is essential for properly metabolizing fructose, especially the concentrated synthetic form found in high fructose corn syrup. Without adequate levels of this enzyme, your body has no choice but to convert most of this fructose directly into fat. And here's the devastating part. It stores this fat primarily around your vital organs, where it does the most damage. This isn't just about appearance or fitting into your favorite clothes, though that matters too. This is about fundamental health and longevity. Ethel, a 71-year-old grandmother from Omaha, learned about this connection just in time. Her doctor had been monitoring her for pre-diabetes and was concerned about her recent weight gain, nearly 13 pounds in just 2 months. When Ethel mentioned this strange weight gain to her bridge partner Gladys, she learned about the hidden dangers of high fructose corn syrup. I was skeptical at first, Ethel admitted. It seemed too simple to be true, but desperate for answers, she decided to try eliminating it from her diet. She was shocked by how many of her healthy choices contained this ingredient. Her favorite yogurt, the crackers she enjoyed with afternoon tea, even the salad dressing she used on her daily greens, all contained some form of high fructose corn syrup. The results spoke for themselves. Within just 4 weeks, Ethel had lost 9 pounds without making any other changes to her diet or exercise routine. More importantly, her next blood work showed significant improvements in her glucose levels. Her doctor was amazed and asked what she'd been doing differently. As I share these experiences, I'm curious about you. Have you noticed unexplained weight gain despite maintaining your regular routine? Or perhaps you've experienced increased fatigue or brain fog that you've simply attributed to getting older. Your experiences matter, and they might be connected to this hidden ingredient we're discussing today. If this information is resonating with you, consider subscribing to our channel for more critical health insights, specifically for Americans in their golden years. Now, let's continue exploring more important aspects about this concerning food additive. What makes this issue particularly troubling is that many seniors are actively trying to make healthy choices. You're reading labels, choosing products marketed as low-fat or heart-healthy, and following the advice you've heard for years. But the food industry has adapted their tactics, hiding these harmful ingredients behind healthy-sounding labels and misleading marketing. Norman, a 69-year-old retired teacher from Phoenix, was diligent about his health after surviving a heart attack at 62. He faithfully purchased foods labeled heart-healthy and low in sugar. Imagine his shock when his cardiologist explained that the weight he'd been gaining could be attributed to the high fructose corn syrup in these supposedly healthy foods. I felt betrayed, Norman shared. I thought I was doing everything right. With his doctor's guidance, Norman began eliminating products containing this problematic sweetener. In just over 2 months, he lost 14 pounds, and his blood pressure measurements improved significantly. I'm angry that I was misled, he said, but grateful to have discovered the truth before it was too late. But here's something that might surprise you even more. This ingredient doesn't just affect your weight. Recent research from Johns Hopkins University suggests that high fructose corn syrup may impact cognitive function in seniors in particularly concerning ways. The study followed 1,200 Americans over age 65 for 3 years and found that those with the highest consumption of this sweetener showed measurably faster rates of cognitive decline than those who consumed little or none. Beatrice, an 83-year-old former librarian from Denver, participated in this study. "I've always been proud of staying sharp," she told researchers. "My mind has always been my greatest asset." After learning about the potential connection between her favorite foods and cognitive decline, Beatrice made dramatic changes to her diet. 6 months later, she reported feeling mentally clearer than she had in years. Her scores on cognitive assessments improved significantly, surprising even the researchers. What's particularly troubling is how this ingredient affects inflammation in aging bodies. Inflammation is at the root of so many health concerns for seniors, from arthritis to heart disease to diabetes. And high-fructose corn syrup has been shown to trigger inflammatory responses that are particularly pronounced in people over 65. Clarence, a 77-year-old Vietnam veteran from Michigan, had struggled with chronic inflammation for decades. His joints were so stiff and painful in the mornings that it would take him nearly an hour to feel comfortable moving around. His doctors had tried various medications with limited success. It wasn't until his VA nutritionist pointed out the high levels of high-fructose corn syrup in his diet that things began to change. "Within 3 weeks of cutting out foods with this ingredient, I noticed a difference," Clarence explained. "The morning stiffness was less severe. I could move more easily. Even my grandkids noticed that I was more active when they came to visit." By now, you might be wondering, if this ingredient is so problematic, why is it in so many foods? The answer, as is often the case, comes down to money. High-fructose corn syrup is significantly cheaper than natural sweeteners. It extends shelf life. It enhances flavors and creates what food scientists call craveability, that quality that makes you want to eat more and more. The food industry has invested billions in developing and defending this ingredient. They've funded studies designed to confuse consumers and obscure the evidence. They've created marketing campaigns to normalize its consumption, and they've lobbied extensively to prevent additional regulation or warning labels. Meanwhile, seniors like you and me are paying the price with our health, our quality of life, and often our independence. The rapid weight gain caused by this ingredient doesn't just affect appearance. It impacts mobility, increases the risk of falls, accelerates joint deterioration, and complicates existing health conditions. Loretta, a 73-year-old grandmother from Baltimore, had always prided herself on her independence, but after gaining nearly 25 pounds over the course of a year, she found herself struggling with basic tasks. "Climbing the stairs to my bedroom became a daily challenge," she recalled. "I was seriously considering selling my 2-story home, the home where I'd raised my children and created a lifetime of memories." Before making such a drastic decision, Loretta consulted with a geriatric specialist who suggested examining her diet for hidden sources of high-fructose corn syrup. "I was shocked to find it in almost everything in my kitchen," Loretta said. Even her sugar-free foods and diet products contained this problematic ingredient. Once she eliminated these foods, the transformation was remarkable. Within 3 months, Loretta had lost 17 pounds. Her mobility improved, and her need for pain medication decreased. "I'm staying in my home," she declared proudly, "and I'm warning all my friends about what I've discovered. Now, I want to be very clear about something. I'm not selling anything here. I'm not promoting a special diet, a miracle supplement, or an expensive program. My only goal is to share information that could potentially transform your health and quality of life. Information that the food industry doesn't want widely known, especially among savvy seniors who might spread the word to friends and family. The solution is surprisingly simple, though it does require some vigilance. Start reading ingredient labels carefully. Look for high-fructose corn syrup in all its many disguises. Be particularly wary of products marketed specifically to seniors or claiming health benefits while containing this ingredient. Stanley, a 79-year-old retired engineer from Chicago, made a game of it. "I became a detective in the grocery store," he laughed. "My grandkids would come shopping with me, and we'd search for hidden high-fructose corn syrup together. They thought it was fun, and I was teaching them valuable health lessons at the same time." Stanley not only lost weight, 16 pounds over 4 months, but also found that his periodic bouts of confusion diminished significantly. "My mind feels sharper," he reported, "and my doctor is much happier with my blood work." What about Mabel from Columbus? At 68, she'd been struggling with mysterious weight gain for nearly 2 years. Despite working in her garden daily and maintaining an active lifestyle with her church community, she'd gained 22 pounds and developed concerning elevation in her blood pressure. "My doctor just kept prescribing more medications," Mabel recalled, "but I felt in my heart that something wasn't right. This wasn't just about getting older." When Mabel's daughter shared what she'd learned about high fructose corn syrup, Mabel decided to investigate her own kitchen. "I was stunned," she said. "It was in my bread, my canned soups, even in the light salad dressing I thought was healthy." Mabel gradually replaced these products with alternatives free from high fructose corn syrup. Within 5 months, she had lost 19 pounds, and her doctor was able to reduce her blood pressure medication. "I feel like I've reclaimed my health," Mabel shared. And it wasn't about some complicated diet or expensive program. It was simply about removing this one problematic ingredient from my meals. I hope these reflections and shared experiences have brought a new perspective on how certain food additives might be affecting your health in ways you never suspected. If any specific story resonated with you, or if you've had similar experiences with unexplained weight gain or health changes, please share in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If you found this information valuable, please leave a like and consider sharing with friends or family members who might benefit from understanding this hidden health risk. Your participation helps our community grow and allows me to continue creating meaningful content about the challenges and opportunities of this phase of life. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to protecting your health as you age. You've worked hard your whole life, raised families, built communities, and contributed to our nation. You deserve to enjoy your golden years with vitality and good health, free from the hidden dangers lurking in our food supply. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again in our next video about protecting your health in a world that doesn't always have your best interests at heart.